Do you want to start with a reflection over this past weekend?
We're 3-0, and we continue to find ways to win. And I think that's one of the more encouraging things you can have, about a team. So I've said it, week one when I was in here, it's just these are building blocks to get us to where we want to go. And I think there's a good foundation. We need to build on it and be able to play volleyball at the level that we can for longer periods is one of the things that we're going to start working on.
Can you touch on first the Rice match and then the Central Arkansas match kind of individually?
Yeah, I thought the first set of Rice was, as good as volleyball can be for where we're at right now. So I was really fired up on that, and it made it really hard for them to play against us. And I thought it went down a little bit. We talked about this as a team as the match went on, but we were still able to win by, 8 and 7 points or something along those lines. So that's just a testament to the volleyball team that we are right now. So that's Rice, and then Central Arkansas. Just I think the highlights for me, I wanted to give Taryn Morris a start because I think she's going to be a name you're going to get to know of the future of this program. And when you're developing a program, you got to think about the now and then think about the future also. So I think if you look at what she did, it was pretty impressive. And I thought we got away a little bit from who we were in the middle of that match. Had to put some people back in, and we got back to that eventually and got control over it. But again, going back to that, we got to be able to play our style of volleyball for longer periods, regardless of who's on the floor. I think that's kind of the lesson learned in that.
Coach, what can you say about the team's resilience to battle back in that match?
Yeah, I think, like I said earlier, then last year we have it printed on the wall of love and grit. Just after kind of what happened last year and the story kind of that came about that, but just I was in the locker room and I said I'd take grit over skill any day, and obviously I'd take both. You got to be good enough to kind of get to those moments that are pressure filled, but the teams that are able to withstand that or withstand the hard parts of a season and be able to bounce back, those are the teams that usually do something special at the end of the year. So I think it's a testament to kind of the team we are right now.
How much have you looked at Utah? And, obviously you built this schedule this way for a reason.
Yeah.
So just how do you feel about going out there playing another ranked opponent on the road?
I was in my office at 5:30 this morning at home watching Utah. So a decent amount. They're a really well-coached volleyball team. Beth's probably I have a lot of people that I'm close with in this game, but she's up there in terms of people that I'm close with. So I think she does a really good job with her teams. I think they have a really talented freshman, Devin Weiss, that I coached with U19 that I got a lot of respect for also. And she's mixing in with a lot of veterans on that team. So I'm not even sure where they came out in the rankings yesterday, but it's underrated. I know that. And I think they're a really good volleyball team, and we're going to be pressed, and we're going to be pressed for the next 4. And scheduling is a little bit based on what we owe. So Utah State came here 2 years ago. We owed them a return, so we had to take a trip to Utah. But I am looking forward to getting back home at some point here in the next 2 weeks. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, that season tickets, I think, stopped being sold after that home tournament. So try to get people out to that, but also to the whole season.
Yeah, played a back-to-back this last weekend, playing a back-to-back this and next week. Just what do you think your girls gained from doing that this last weekend, knowing that that's kind of going to be the next couple weeks set up?
Yeah, I think there's twofold, and I want to say this too. Like, we played Rice in a hostile environment, but we also had a lot of maroon in the crowd, and I've been meaning to send a tweet out or whatever, an X now. I don't know what they're called. What's the verb of sending something out now on there? Just thanking people for showing up. So I think, again, pushing people. We have kind of, not a home match up in Dallas, but a chance for people to come out and support. And I think the SMU match, I haven't heard that it's sold out yet, but I know it was getting close last week. But I think we kind of have these two where we can get a crowd up there and have these competing things going on. But then we're going into hostile territories over in Utah, and I think both of those environments are going to be rowdy. And I've heard that about both places. I've never played there. But I talked about this with our team on day one. We're a professional team for the preseason, for the non-com part of what we're doing. And we're literally going to 4 away gyms. It's not just going to play a neutral site match against somebody. We're going to Utah, and then we're busting to Utah State, and we're going to bus to SMU, and then bus to TCU, who just beat the number 5 team in the country last night. So it's not an easy schedule, and that was a little bit on purpose. We want to be pushed so that we're ready for what I think is the best conference in the country in the SEC. But we're ready for the challenge.
Coach, we kind of talked to Taylor about depth that this team has, and specifically in that Central Arkansas match, we kind of had to see it. 4 girls in double digits, Like, can we kind of touch on Taylor's like 11 being able to come in and just deliver when we needed it to?
Yeah, I've said it for I don't know, the entire season last year. She's just really good at a lot of the things that people don't pay attention to, and then she put in a lot of work. And she's really good at the things that people pay attention to now. And I think you have that across our team. Like I brought up Taryn earlier, being able to come into that match, and Taylor got that start. Like I trust a lot of people on our team to come in and play and contribute. And we're going to need that as this season goes on, especially, again, these grueling little stretches of being able to have some people come in and be there when people are struggling. But the second piece is also be there so that we can mitigate some load on some people as the season goes on. So I think, I don't know, it's a blessing in the fact that we have a lot of people that can come in. And I promise you, the practice gym that steps away from here might be the most competitive environment you're going to see in the country because of that. So I believe that when you have that and the rising tide kind of lifts the ship in here, that our practice environment being as competitive as it is, like in a feisty competitiveness standpoint, and also the level in terms of the volleyball it's played, that's the thing that's going to get us to where we need to go. So I think it helps us in the practice gym. It helps us in matches when people are struggling. It helps us give some people some rest when they need some rest.
This is kind of the depth that you've wanted to build, I imagine, over the last few years. So how do you kind of balance, keeping it competitive and then also, being able to get people time on the court?
It's a really easy. No, it's not an easy question. There's no right or wrong answer to that. It's trying to find times to get those people some time on the floor. It's also, and I've said this till I'm blue in the face, like it's create this practice environment that's hopefully one of the most exciting things we're going to do all week. And if we're playing volleyball at that level and then going and taking care of business and getting into that Rice match, and then all of a sudden it's like we're looking forward to coming back into our practice gym. And that is the place where we get to go compete. And hopefully that reframes a little bit in our athletes' heads of like, hey, I do get a chance to play. We mix lineups a lot in this gym, especially early on in the week. And then we'll get a little bit more towards who's going to play at the end of the week. But that's the reason I do that is one, to try to develop the entire group of 17 and make sure everyone's getting the opportunity to do that in here, but also to make this a feisty, competitive, sassy environment that our athletes get after each other.
Coach, I want to kind of touch on a group that doesn't always get the headlines, but the littles.
Yeah.
We had Ava leading the team from Central Arkansas with 19, but then you have Addie as a freshman coming in again, 11 digs, but then Tatum, especially from the service line, kind of talk about that group and what they bring to this team as a whole.
Yeah, I think if you go back and watch, I think the Minnesota match especially, I'm going to use that, just we were able to control the ball and both ends of that, serving and passing. And I think I'm going to go with Addie and Ava. Actually, I'm going to go with Tatum first because I went back to this last year and I just said when we went on that tournament run and I gave them props, I thought Tatum and Margaret were probably the MVPs because we started injecting them into the service line and they were able to give us some stability of putting a good serve in over and over and over again and then a level of aggressiveness. And I think Tatum's showing that right now. She's serving the ball in and really, really aggressively. And it's the point where I have to get her on the floor early in the match or early in each set so that we get her 3 times. And I think that's a big deal in what's going on. And then her ability to play defense, and she sets the tone for what we do in that. And then Ava Addie, obviously there's a defensive piece, but if you go back and watch that Minnesota match, just our ability to ball control and just with those two on the floor, and I'm going to say everybody, and when we go depth, like I'm not pulling people off the floor because they're really bad at reception. I'm putting people on the floor because they're really good at reception. And I think you could say that. I think Taylor was in here earlier talking, like she's one of the best passers in the country and she's coming off at times because there's just somebody that's slightly better than her that's going to add value on the floor in some way, shape, or form. So I think just what those two are doing and ability to, pass the ball. And we pass a lot of balls into triangles and try to be a little bit more forgiving about what good is. But our ability to do that is at a really high level right now. And it's because of that group.